Inside the house, the squatters were panicking. Kyle Sanders' hands shook as he clutched his phone, shouting into it. "They can't do this. This is intimidation. Illegal. Get the cops here now." But when he peeked out again, the sight outside made his stomach twist. Hundreds of bikers, men and women, stood shoulder to shoulder, silent, disciplined, a wall of leather, chrome, and loyalty. They weren't yelling. They weren't moving. They were simply there. And somehow that was worse. Sarah stood in front, flanked by Frank and Maria. Emma and Max clung to her sides. News cameras circled. The air pulsed with tension. Police cars appeared at the end of the street, dozens of them. The lead officer stepped out, Officer Martinez. He looked around, eyes wide, then spotted Frank. "What's going on here?" Frank approached calmly. "Peaceful assembly, officer. All on public property. We're here to support a homeowner who's been defrauded." Martinez nodded slowly. "As long as everyone stays peaceful." "We intend to," Frank said. A cheer went up from the bikers. They held signs now, printed overnight. "Fake leases equals real crimes. Justice for the Mitchell family. Squatters are not tenants." The pressure was immediate. Channel 12 streamed the standoff live. Within minutes, hashtag Justice for Sarah trended on every social platform. Inside, Kyle shouted from the window, "You'll all be arrested. You can't scare us out." Maria, still holding her megaphone, answered coolly, "No one's scaring you, Kyle. We're just showing the world what you did." Then came the unexpected turn. Two unmarked sedans pulled up. Men in suits stepped out, detectives. One flashed a badge. "Detective Ramos, Riverside County DA's office. We need to speak with Sarah Mitchell." Sarah stepped forward nervously. "That's me, Ms. Mitchell. We reviewed the evidence from your attorney and the footage collected by the Iron Hawks. The lease these individuals presented is confirmed fraudulent. The notary stamp was copied from a 2019 real estate case. The property manager listed, Robert Davidson, doesn't exist." The crowd erupted in cheers. But Ramos held up his hand. "We'll still need a court order to remove them, but with these criminal charges, it'll move faster." Kyle's voice shouted again from the window. "This is all fake. You people are crazy." "Actually," Ramos said, glancing toward the house, "Mr. Sanders, you might want to step outside. There's also an outstanding warrant in Nevada for fraud and identity theft." That silenced everything. The bikers turned as the front door opened. Kyle appeared, trying to look confident, but his hands trembled. Tina and Derek trailed behind him. The detectives advanced, flanked by uniformed officers. "This is harassment," Kyle began, but Ramos cut him off. "Kyle Sanders, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and falsifying legal documents. You have the right to remain silent." The crowd exploded. Cheers, applause, even tears. Sarah covered her mouth, trembling. Emma and Max clung to her, their eyes wide as the handcuffs clicked around Kyle's wrists. Tina tried to back away, but Maria called out, "Tina Brooks, 2 active warrants in San Bernardino." Officers moved in. Derek bolted to the side yard, only to be met by 2 bikers waiting calmly. They stepped aside just enough for the officers to grab him. Within minutes, all 3 were in custody. The cameras captured everything. The arrests, the bikers' silent discipline. Sarah standing in front of her house with tears streaming down her face. Detective Ramos turned to her. "You'll still need the eviction order, but with the criminal element removed, you'll have your house back within 48 hours. Sarah nodded, barely able to speak. "Thank you. Thank you all." Frank stepped forward. "Your dad once told me good people show up when it matters most. Guess he was right." Sarah laughed through her tears. He was. The bikers roared their engines in salute. One by one, they revved, the sound rolling across the street like thunder. Neighbors lined the sidewalks, cheering. Officer Martinez approached Sarah quietly. "Ma'am, I've been on the force 20 years. Never seen anything like this. You're lucky to have people like them." Sarah smiled. "I think my dad had something to do with that." That afternoon, the news coverage spread nationwide. Bikers helped single mom reclaim her home from squatters. Every major outlet carried the story. Videos of Frank's speech in the mass biker rally were shared millions of times. Donations poured into Sarah's GoFundMe, $10,000, then $25,000, then $60,000 by nightfall. Messages flooded her inbox from strangers across the country offering support, legal aid, even jobs. That evening, with police supervision, Sarah and her children stepped back into their house. The locks were changed again, this time by professionals the Iron Hawks had brought. The smell of smoke and rot lingered, and some rooms were trashed, but it didn't matter. It was theirs. Emma ran to her old bedroom, where the bikers had already helped clean up. "My bed's still here," she squealed. Max pointed to the wall where his drawings had been. They didn't get all of them. Sarah stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. "We're home," she whispered. Frank lingered on the porch, arms crossed. "We'll post a couple guys here the next few nights," he said. "Make sure no one tries anything." "You don't have to." "Family doesn't say no," he interrupted softly. Sarah nodded, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." As the sun set, the Iron Hawks began to leave, one group at a time, their engines fading into the distance. Maria stayed behind, helping Sarah document the damage for insurance. Before she left, she hugged her tightly. "You're stronger than you know, Sarah. Your dad raised a fighter." That night, for the first time in days, Sarah and her children slept in real beds. The silence of the house was almost sacred. But outside, parked beneath the streetlight, Frank sat on his bike, keeping watch. He wasn't leaving until dawn. By the next morning, the world had changed for Sarah Mitchell. Her video had surpassed 12 million views. News vans still lined the street. The DA's office confirmed felony charges against Kyle Sanders and his accomplices. Jennifer Park met Sarah on the porch with a court order in hand. "You're officially reinstated as lawful occupant," she said, smiling for the first time since they'd met. "It's over." Sarah hugged her, speechless. Inside, volunteers from the Iron Hawks and local community groups were already repairing damage. One replaced broken glass. Another painted over graffiti. Someone brought groceries. Someone else brought new toys for Emma and Max. The backyard was cleaned, the furniture salvaged, and in the living room, on a small table, stood a new urn. Inside were the remains of what they could gather of her father's ashes. Next to it was a plaque, handcrafted by the bikers. "John Mitchell, a good man who saved strangers and inspired family." Sarah stared at it for a long time. Later, Channel 7 aired an extended segment titled "The Bikers Who Fought for Justice." It featured Frank's calm leadership, Maria's meticulous documentation, and the footage of 300 bikers standing silent in defense of a single mother. The nation called "The Day the Bikers Stood Still." When asked why he did it, Frank's response went viral. "Because kindness doesn't expire. You never know when the good you do will come back around." Within days, new legislation was proposed in Sacramento, the Mitchell Bill, to make squatting under false leases a fast-track criminal offense. State senators publicly credited Sarah's case for inspiring it. By week's end, Sarah had hundreds of letters from people who'd been through similar ordeals. Many simply wrote, "You gave us hope." The Iron Hawks returned one last time the following Sunday. They parked quietly outside and invited Sarah and her kids to the clubhouse cookout. She hesitated, still overwhelmed, but Emma tugged her sleeve. "Please, Mom, I want to see the motorcycles again." They went. The clubhouse was decorated with banners reading "Welcome Home, Mitchells." Emma rode on Maria's trike, squealing with joy. Max learned how to polish chrome. Sarah laughed more than she had in years. When she finally found Frank sitting on the porch, watching the sunset, she handed him something, a folded photo. It was from 2008, the one from the snowstorm. A younger Frank, her father beside him, both smiling. "You kept it all these years," she said softly. Frank nodded. "He saved us, Sarah. That's something you don't forget." She smiled, tears brimming. "You saved me." Frank shook his head. "You saved yourself. We just reminded the world you weren't alone." The two sat in silence, watching the sky fade to orange. The sound of motorcycles idling in the distance filled the air. A promise kept, a debt repaid. As night fell, Sarah whispered to herself, "Dad, you were right. Good people still exist." And somewhere, in the deep hum of engines and the laughter of friends, it felt like he heard her.